Hello, Angela Albert with the Albert Real Estate Team. Wanted to talk a little bit today about appraisals. What are they? What does it mean? So an appraisal is a professional opinion of value. Appraisals are done by certified appraisers in the state of Georgia. They are licensed. Works differently depending on where you're at. So if you're a buyer and you make an offer on a house for, let's say, $250,000, and that appraisal comes in at $225,000. Well, we have some options there. Number one, you, the buyer, can pay the difference, right, between the $225,000 and the $250,000. Great, no problem. Option number two, seller reduces the sale price to appraised value, which is quite common. Option number three, buyer and seller kind of split the difference, right? So if we're off by $25,000, maybe one party pays $12,500 and the other party pays $12,500 to kind of get everybody where they need to be. Or last but not least, if we can't get both buyer and seller to agree on the new price, then we terminate. Hopefully, you as a buyer are getting your earnest money back. That's when it's really important that you've hired a good qualified real estate agent to represent you in that transaction. Now, on the seller side, it looks pretty much the same. Appraisal comes in low. You guys have a couple of options as sellers. We can reduce that sale price like we talked about earlier. We can go to the buyer and say, we need an appraisal gap, right? And a lot of times we do that before we even go binding on a contract. We can upfront, to protect ourselves and to protect that money that we got in that contract, insist on an appraisal gap, which says, you've offered me $250,000, for example. We might ask the buyer to write in a $20,000 appraisal gap, which says if that appraisal comes in low, you agree to pay $20,000 above appraised value. Depending on the market, that could be quite common. And then, of course, as a seller, if we can't get both parties to agree, both buyer and seller, there is always an option to terminate. That's when you may or may not be able to keep earnest money. That is something that we would obviously be fighting for. So if you have any questions about appraisals or appraisal gaps, feel free to call me directly, or if you want to check out my website, talk to you soon. Bye.